Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to my literary club. Today I'm going to explain the second part of The Wasteland, a game of chess. I've already explained in the part one the burial of the dead, the poet's introduction, the introduction of T.S. Eliot, and also the introduction of the poem, The Whole Wasteland. So, in today's video, I'll just start from the stanza number one. In this stanza, in the start of this poem, we'll see a rich lady who is wealthy, and the abundance of wealth, and the despite of the wealth, she is sad and she is in despair. So let's start. The chair she sat in, like a burnished throne, glowed on the marble. Now, Eliot is describing the chair, the scenario, and he's using the literary device of simile. He's comparing chair with a burnished throne by using the word like. So that's an example of simile, and he's saying that the chair is so much grand. It's in the drawing room, and it's like a throne because it shows the wealth and power. And the surface, the earth is so much clean, and there's marbles on the earth, and they are so clean and they are so fun, so beautiful, that this throne is reflecting on the earth, on the marbles, where the glass held up by standards wrought with fruited wines. Now there is a mirror, and it is set up. It is held up by some pillars, and on those pillars there is fruited wines carved on it. Okay, there's a furniture with the pillars of wood, and there is the carving of fruited wine from which a golden cupidon peeped out. The cupidon is the Roman god of love, and there's also its carving is also on that pillar, that wooded pillar. It's carved. Another hid his eyes behind his wing, and there's another cupidon who is hiding. Now there is three images: first the fruited vine, second the golden cupidon, and thirdly the cupidon which is hiding. Now this hiding behind is significant because it shows us the shame, the secrecy of what is going to happen. Okay, the emotional disconnect, because the cupidon is not connecting. Double the flame of seven branch candelabra, reflecting light upon the table as the glitter of her jewels. Okay, so there is also this chandelier in which there are seven candles, and their flames, the flames of the candles, are doubled. Why? Because it's reflecting upon the light of the mirror. Okay, so there are seven, and then they got doubled because its reflection is in the mirror, so they got 14. Okay, so reflected light upon the table as the glitter of her jewels rose to meet it. Now he's giving the imagery of the jewels on the table, and the jewels are also shining, and its glitter is matching with the light of the chandelier. Okay, it's matching with the flames of the candles on the chandelier, and because jewels are also shining, so this whole imagery shows us the abundance of the wealth. Okay, there's so much jewels that they spill out of their cases. It also shows the materialism from certain cases poured in rich profusion. So the jewels is in so much abundance that they couldn't keep themselves in the case. They are coming out of the case. Okay, spilling out of their case. In the vials of ivory and colored glass, now there are bottles. Vials are the bottles of ivory and some colorful glasses. Unstopped, lurked her strange synthetic perfume. And what are those bottles? Those are the bottles of perfumes. So the perfumes are synthetic, which means the perfumes are artificial. The nature is artificial here because, for example, there's a rose that is nature, and that synthetic perfume is artificial of that rose. So this is also an example of personification because he's saying that the perfume is lurking out. He's giving a mm, attribute of another human quality to perfume which is non-human. So that is an example of personification. Unguent, powder, liquid, troubled, confused. Now he's giving us an imagery that there are variety of perfumes and cosmetics. They're powdered form, they're in liquid form, and they're all confused. So this confusion shows us the emotional turmoil of the situation of the lady. That even her cosmetics and her perfumes are confused. And round the sense in odor. Now the odor, the fragrance of those perfumes. So much that the whole area is saturated by the fragrance, stirred up by the air that freshened from the window. Now, there is wind that is coming from the window, the fresh air that is coming from the window, sudden fresh air that stirred the environment, that disturbed the environment. So we can see that there is so much artificiality in that era of post-war that the sudden blow of a air disturb it, because that's fresh, that's natural. These ascended in fattening the prolonged candle flames. Now, even that fresh air, instead of refreshing the environment, it's also mixed with the artificiality of that perfumes, and it's ascending, it's going up, it's fattening the fragrance. And also it fattening the candle flames, because those fragrance and air, they make the flames grow larger. So this shows us the excess of everything, excess of jewelry, excess of fragrance, and excess of flames flung their smokes into the laquiria. Now this movement of the flames are looks like as the something on the ceiling is moving. So because the flames is going up and they are making different shapes, so the it looks like that these shapes are on the ceilings. Like area is the ceiling, staining the pattern on the coffered ceiling. Exactly, that these flames are stirring, they are disturbing, they are thrilling the panels on the square ceiling. Huge seawood fed with the copper burned green and orange. Now there is a fireplace. In that fireplace, there are woods of seawood and also mix up with copper, and they are burning. And due to they are burning, there is green and orange kind of smoke is coming out. So this is giving us green smoke, and orange smoke is giving some eerie situation, some uh, troubled situation, or we can say troubled imagery. So this all is an example of visual imagery. So because they are all attacking our eyes, and we are imagining these things with our eyes, so that's it, visual imagery. Framed by the colored stone in which sad light a carved dolphin swam. Now, due to this orange flame, there is a colored stone in which there is a carving of a dolphin, and it looks like that dolphin is swimming in these flames. Okay, so look at the imagery that Eliot is trying to give. Everything is so unnatural in this situation. Above the antique mantle was displayed. Now, above that fireplace, there is a painting as though a window gave upon the sylvan scene. Now that painting is kind of a window to some sylvan, because that painting is of some pastoral scene. So Eliot is saying that it looks like that painting is a window to the pastoral scene. The change of Philomel by the barbarous king so rudely forced, yet there the nightingale filled all the desert with unviolable voice. Now, this is also an example of mythical allusion, because in the myths there was a Philomel who was the sister of the queen, and her the husband of the queen, the king, king wanted to harass Philomel, and she didn't had any negative intentions to the king, so king raped her and then cut her tongue, so she couldn't tell her sister, the queen, the whole situation. And then Philomel turned into a nightingale, and then she went to some deserted area, and then she started to sing her song and tried to tell her story to everybody. So this is the story here, the change of Philomel, how she changed into the nightingale by the barbarous king, so rudely forced, she was raped. Yet there is a nightingale, then she became a nightingale, filled all the desert with the unavoidable voice. Okay, so she tried to tell her story, and still she cried, and still the world pursues. But she was crying, she was trying to tell her story, but the world ignores her. So the world did not understand the story behind the voice of the nightingale. Juk juk to the dirty ears. So the dirty ears, the materialistic ears, the ears of the that those people. To those ears, the sound was only juk juk, the sound of the nightingale. But if there could be any good ears, then they could understand the story. But there were only dirty ears, so they couldn't understand, and to them there was only juk juk. Now this juk juk is an example of onomatopoeia, which is a literary device that. Which is kind of that mimics the actual voice into the words. So, for example, this juk juk is an example. So, it's onomatopoeia. And other withered stumps of time were told upon the walls. Now he's moving forward that there are some other mythical pictures on the walls that is telling the stories of time, and they're on the walls. Staying forms leaned out, leaning, hushing, and room enclosed. Now this is an example of personification, because he's saying that those paintings, those carvings are staring, and they're leaning, and they're hushing. So that's personification. And those he's saying that those stories, they are telling the stories silently of some haunting stories, we can say. And these figures in the artwork seem to watch, and they are leaned out, they are trying to tell something, and there is some hushing. Those musical figures are trying to tell some stories, but they could not. Why? Because the footsteps shuffled on the stairs. Now there's a sign of a footstep. Finally we have some human coming to that place, to that lady, the lover of that lady. And the stories, these footsteps silence those stories. And also this is kind of giving some suspense that what is going to happen now. Under the firelight, under the brush, her hair spread out in fiery points. Now instead of describing that, Elias is again describing the hairs of the lady, that wealthy lady. And he's saying that her hairs are under the firelight, and her hairs are in the brush, and they are all spread out. Now hair shows us some kind of mystery. Okay, there's say something mysterious, and there's something fishy here. Okay. Also, the hairs also is the symbol of some anxiety and mystery. Okay, glowed into the words, then would be savagely still. Now her hair is also trying to speak, but then suddenly still, then suddenly stops. Now the lover is arrived, and the lady is talking to her lover. Now look at this scene. Her lover is have come. Her lover come, and they, instead of talking about some romantic things, and instead of talking about their routines, telling each other and anything like that, look what they're speaking. My nerves are bad tonight. Yes, bad. Stay with me. Speak to me. What? Why do you never speak? Speak. Now this whole their communication, their conversation is an example of stream of consciousness, which is a literary technique which shows us that how our conscious work, how our minds work. Because it's happens with everybody, but that whenever we are trying, we are thinking about something, and then something some other thing comes to our mind, and then we start thinking about that thing, and then other. So we don't think in a linear line. We think about something, and then something really opposite comes to our mind through that thing, and then we start thinking about that thing, and then next, and then next. So that is called the stream of consciousness. So this conversation is an example of stream of consciousness. And we can see that she's anxious, and she's desperate for the companionship. So she's just start telling her, speak to me, stay with me, why are you not speaking? Now this not speaking shows us that this theme of nothingness, that this is a very important theme of wasteland. That that there's nothing to talk, there's nothing to do. Okay, so that is theme of nothingness, because modern men have nothing to speak. There, if they talk, there's only absurd talking. So in this pleading of her, she's pleading for the communication. And the next line, what are you thinking of? What thinking? What? I never know what you are thinking. Think. Again, she is pleading him to think and to tell her. So these, all these rhetorical questions, these what are you thinking? What thinking? What? They are so kind of misplaced communication. And this, what are you thinking? And you don't tell me what are you thinking? Shows her insecurity, and her paranoia, and her disconnection with her lover. I think when we are in Rat's Alley, where the dead men lost their bones. Now, this is the reply of the lover, and lover is replying something really different, and he's giving us some spirituality, we can say. Because his grim thoughts evoke the image of death and decay, that we are in the dead alley. Okay, and where the dead man lost their bones, this shows us that we are spiritually dead, we are emotionally dead. And also this shows the emotional death of this relationship. So the lover was starting to talk about something spiritual, something that is accurate. Okay, they are spiritually and emotionally dead, but then there's a sudden noise. What is that noise? Now, because they could not talk about spirituality due to the noise, and because they are modern men, and they don't talk about this. So, what is that noise? The wind under the door. What is that noise? What is the wind doing? Nothing, again, nothing. Now, this shows the anxiety continues, and this meaningless noise and the meaningless words. This shows her inner turmoil. And also, this is the theme of absurdism. I told you that whenever they try to talk, they talk something absurd. So, these are the absurd questions. And she's becoming more and more frantic with time. All these questions show that he's questioning, do you know nothing, do you see nothing, do you remember nothing. She's trying to questioning his awareness about things and his emotional detachment. I remember those are the pearls that were his eyes. Are you alive or not? Is there nothing in your head? Now this those are the pearls that were his eyes is, and now these are the lovers line, and these lines are allusion. These are lines are taken from the Tempest by William Shakespeare, and these were the Ariel's line. There was a character Ariel, and these were her lines. So he's referring to some death, okay. And so because there's emotional and spiritual death in those people. And this line, are you alive or not? This is the same line we read in the Burial of the Dead. Because the society, he's asking that even Eliot is trying to say that the society is dead or alive because there is uncertainty. Now look at the fragmentation. But oh, that Shakespearean rag, it's so elegant, so intelligent. Now, is there any sense in these words, in these lines, how the conversation is going? No, because that's stream of consciousness. Now they are talking about some rug, and that rug is so elegant and so intelligent. All that. What shall I do now? What shall I do? I shall rush out as I am and walk. Now, these are the lines of the lady, and she's saying, what shall I do now? Okay, because there's sense of purposelessness and there's sense of meaninglessness. There are existential crises at that time. Okay, so she's saying, I shall rush out as I am and walk the streets with my hair down. Now, this shows that she's trying to escape from this life, and she's trying to rush out and walk the street with her hair down because at this time she has to comb her hair and make them beautiful. But she's saying that, can I leave all this? What shall we do tomorrow? What shall we ever do? Now, again, back to her meaningless questions, because that's an answer that they are stuck in this uncertain life and they cannot escape this. And her lover is saying her lover is going to so tell them maintain routine. The water hot at 10, if it rained, a closed car at 4. Now he's going to describe his routine that we'll do this tomorrow, okay. Because he was asking what shall we do tomorrow, so he's narrating that we shall do this tomorrow. There must be a hot water at 10 o'clock, and then if there's a rain, there must be a car ready at 4 o'clock. Now this shows the emotional numbness of that lover and also the modern man, that what is she asking and what is he replying, because they are so emotionally numb. He couldn't see that the lady is going through some trauma and turmoil. Now he's saying that we shall play a game of chess tomorrow. Now this game of chess shows us that there's only logic and reason, because in the game of chess you have to plan things and there's use of logic and reason and thinking required. So same is the relationship of both. There's no emotional attachment, there's no romantic relationship, just the logical reasonable relationship between them. Pressing lidless eyes and waiting for a knock upon the door. This lidless eyes shows us that open eyes, and this suggests there's sleeplessness and there's anxiety. And what is the modern man waiting for? The modern man is waiting for a knock upon the door, someone to wake them up, someone to stir them, to disturb them, that wake up to reality. Wake up, it's time to wake up, it's time to change your thoughts and your doings. Now this is the second story of this part, the game of chess, a game of chess. And in this part there is a girl, that is Lil, and her husband Albert. And this is not a happy marital life, okay. The Albert is an army man, and he's coming back, and Lil is sitting with her friend in a restaurant. Actually, this is all the recalling of the Lil's friend. The Lil's friend is recalling her conversation with the Lil about Lil's husband coming back to home, okay. So when Lil's husband got mobbed mean discharged from the army, is on the leave. I said I didn't mince my words. I said to her myself. Now she's saying that I didn't hesitate to say what is she is going to say, and I didn't beat about the bush. Said it bluntly and directly to her face. Okay, hurry up, please. It's time. Now this is a very very important line. I'll tell you its significance later on. But to the literal meaning, it's there's a waitress, and there's time to close the restaurant, and that is why she's saying that hurry up, it's time to close the restaurant. So stand up and leave the restaurant. Okay, now Albert is coming back. Make yourself a bit smart. Now this Lil's friend is suggesting her to make herself presentable. Okay, he will want to know what you have done with that money he gave you to get yourself some teeth. Now this shows that the need of presentable to you, for your husband and for the society. You have to be beautiful. Why? She'll tell later. Okay, she's saying that your teeth are very bad. There must be any alignment issue or anything else. So she's saying that your husband gave you money to go to dentist and solve all these problems, but you didn't did that. So he'll ask you. Okay, so she is basically criticizing that she didn't spend money on the dental work, and highlighting the social expectations to maintain the beauty. I was there. You have them all out, Lil, and get a nice set. He said, I swear I cannot bear to look at you. Now, uh, look at the pressure she's having. And also, she's saying that, and no more can't I? I said, and think of poor Albert. Okay, now she and even the Albert is criticizing her look, and they are pressuring her to get false teeth for return of the Albert, and reducing her worth to the physical appearance. Okay, and she's even saying that I cannot even look at you. Even she's her friend, but she's saying that how ugly you are looking, and how poor Albert is because he's tolerating you. He's been in the army for years. He wants a good time, and if you don't give it him, there is others will. I said. Now this is the consequences if she didn't maintain herself. Okay, and these lines are revealing the societal pressure plus the post-war gender dynamics and the societal expectations and the scenario of post-war and the thinkings of the post-war. Okay, that the woman must be perfect. No, otherwise the man could go to other ladies. Okay, so she's saying that he'll come back, and if you do not look presentable, then he could go to other ladies. Oh, is there? She said. Something of that, I said. Then I'll know who to thank, she said, and give me a straight look. Now we can see that Lily, these are the lines of Lil, and Lil is giving sarcasm, and this sarcasm of the Lil shows that she's aware of the double standards of the society, and she's aware of her helplessness, that she couldn't do anything. She have to listen to this criticism, and she have to do whatever they are saying. Okay, and she knows that if she didn't look presentable, her husband could go to any other ladies. Hurry up, it's time, please, it's time. Again, that line bartender is saying that if you don't like it, you can get on with it. I said others can pick and choose if you can't. Now, again, she is bluntly and openly saying that if you do not improve your marital life by changing your look and by making yourself beautiful, then other women could pick your husband and they would choose them. It's your fault if your husband go to another lady. Okay, but if Albert makes off, it won't be for lack of telling. Okay, and she's saying that I remind you, and I am your well wisher. So if Albert makes out with any other lady, or she could be her friend, who is criticizing. So he's saying that if Albert makes out with another lady, don't say that anybody didn't tell you. I am telling you, okay, to do something. You ought to be ashamed, I said, to look so antique. Now look at the insulting and look at the awful and words that she's using. And she's saying that look at yourself, you're looking for not taking care of yourself, and you're looking so old. Even though her only 31, she's only 31-year old. Okay, but she's still looking so antique and old. So this is the toll of the poverty and war and repeated births that is making her look old. I can't help it, she said, pulling a long face. Now Lily's talking, that I can't help it. It's them pills I took to bring it off, she said. Now what she bring off? She has had five already and nearly died of young George. So she took the abortion pills to kill her sixth unborn child, and due to those abortion pills, she suffered a lot because her appearance changed and her she lost her beauty. Okay, so this shows the harsh reality of the maternal life, the maternal health in post-war working class. Okay, because they could not raise six children, and if they took abortion pill, then it would she lost her beauty, and if she lost her beauty, her husband could leave her. The chemist said it would be all right, but I have never been the same. So the chemist that who gave the abortion pill said that there wouldn't be any side effects, but I'm not being the same. You are a proper fool, I said. Now again, that a friend is talking that you are a proper fool. Well, if Albert won't leave you alone, there it is. I said, what are you get married if you don't want children? And then look at that lady, the audacity she has, that she's criticizing and she's condemning again the Lil, and she's saying that this is the role of women at that modern time. To the main roles of the woman are, number one, to maintain her beauty, okay, as if she's some kind of a object of pleasure, and secondly, marry and have a number of children. Okay, again, hurry up, please, it's time. The barmaid is saying. Well, that Sunday, Albert was home and they had a long, hot gammon, and they asked me in to dinner to get the beauty of it hot. Now, the girl is, because she's telling the conversation to some other lady, she's recalling. So she's saying that their Sunday, Albert came back and then they had a hot, this gammon is kind of a meat. So they had their dinner and they asked me to join them, but to get the beauty of the dinner hot. Hurry up, please. It's time. Hurry up, please. It's time. Now, this repetition shows us the urgency of the TSL. Actually, this line is repeated five times in this whole story, and Eliot is trying to wake the modern man, because modern man thinks that they have plenty of time, but Eliot is trying to give them reminder, trying to give them a warning that they don't have plenty of time, but they're short of time, and they take the progress from this wasteland. They should wake up, and they should leave this era, and they should start a new time. Okay, so this the writing style of all the letters are capital. This repeated lines shows us the urgency of the T.S. Eliot and his urge to wake them up. Good night, Bill. Good night, Lo. Good night, May. Good night, Tara. Good night. Good night. Now she's saying good night to all the people of the restaurant, and she's naming good night, ladies. Good night, sweet ladies. Good night. Good night. Now this second line, this is a reference. This is an use of allusion, because this line is taken from the Hamlet, and these are the lines of Ophelia, because when she was dying by drowning and she said farewell. So this is showing that the tragedy of the Ophelia and the Ophelia and Hamlet is same to the tragedy of Lil and Albert. Okay, and look at the title significance here, because that lady is so cunning and manipulative. She know how to manipulate Albert not to love her. Okay, and this is the game of chess. These are some of the main themes of a game of chess, the part 2 of Wasteland. Emotional and psychological isolation. I've discussed it during the point, the rich lady's isolation, and also the Lil's isolation, because she is isolated and she is helpless. The decay of love and sexual relationship, the decay of love in the story 1, and also the decay of love in story 2. There's only sexual relationships, a mechanical relationship. Fragmentation and miscommunication between the lady and her lover, also the miscommunication between Lil and Albert, moral and cultural decay, sexual exploitation, and female suffering. So I've discussed all these themes throughout the poem, throughout the video, so you can check them. If you, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you have any question regarding the explanation, you can ask in the comments below. Also, give you a suggestion about next poem to explain in the comments. Please like and share video, subscribe my channel, and press the bell icon to get the notification of the next video.